My name is Kristin Gorter. I hope you are having an amazing day. Today we are continuing in the Advent theme, and I'm tackling love part 2, which, where do you turn in the Bible when you want to talk about love? Obviously, 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. It's the passage that's read at pretty much every single wedding for a good reason. We're going to dig into it a little bit right now. It says, "Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." I have read or heard this passage probably a million times in my life, and I think it typically would just go in one ear and out the other. But a few years ago, I read this and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, almost like I'd never read it before. And I realized that the love that this passage is describing is extremely revolutionary. It flies in the face of what the world tells us that love is. We live in a society that's obsessed with love. It's in our movies, it's in our books, it's in our newspapers, our tabloids, it's in everything. But it's a very worldly kind of love that is honestly shallow. Because what the world considers to be love is this warm, fuzzy feeling. We've dumbed it down to be this feeling and this a thought process and a way of life. But it's so much more than that. There is a depth and a breadth to what love really is that's described in the Bible, and I don't want to miss it because it is life-giving and it is revolutionary, and it's just one of the most amazing, unbelievable things, and yet it's true. The way that this describes love, like I said, it doesn't conjure up warm, fuzzy feelings, but what it does conjure up is vulnerability and sacrifice. And this amazed me when I read it a few years ago. What amazed me is, one, that I would be loved by God in this way, and two, I was terrified to love others in this way because I was scared of what that would mean for me. And what's even more mind-blowing and insane is that Jesus did this for us, and he did this for his enemies, who is us. We are his enemies because we are living in sin. We are living in this deep brokenness, this deep pain that has set us apart. It has set us against God, against our Creator. But he loved us, his enemies, in this way. And he calls us to not only love our loved ones like this, he calls us to love our enemies like this. And in practice, it's easy to talk about, but in practice, it looks like what Isaiah 53 describes, which says, "Surely he has borne our griefs and our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed." That's what this love is describing. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7 is not describing a marriage, though I hope it does. What it's describing is the love of Jesus Christ, the love of the Son of God, who shed his royalty, his holiness. He shed that to put on the humility, the pain, and the brokenness of what it is to be human. He became that for us so that he could take the humility, the pain, the brokenness, the vulnerability. He could take that to the cross and leave it there for all eternity so that we, his enemies, could stand with him forever in the light of his love. And that is why we celebrate on Christmas Day. That is why we celebrate his birth. It's not just this cool story of some baby being born in and put in a manger. It is this mind-boggling truth that the God of the universe, the creator of all things, loved his enemies to the point that he was willing to lay down everything for us, just so that we could be with him. That's all that he's calling us to. He's inviting us to be with him. And that's even the amazing part about this too. Love does not insist on its own way. He does not insist and force us like some captor who is insisting that their slave love them. He's not demanding it of us, but he loved us in a way that evokes that response in us, that we want to love him back. Because my God, I don't deserve it. And you don't either. That's the truth. So tomorrow, please celebrate with the joy and the peace and the knowledge that you are loved to the point that God himself put down his life for you. He became a baby, was wrapped up in swaddling clothes, and laid in a manger in a feeding trough where horses ate and pooped. And he grew up to die on a cross, all so that you might live with him for all eternity. Merry Christmas, everyone.